Hello, everybody, and welcome to the third installment of Hot Reads here at the McCracken County Public Library. I am your host with the most, Nick Taylor, and I am here today with my awesome co-host. You can catch him anytime on the second floor, Mr. Shaun Weeks. How you doing, sir?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Now, we're talking about something that I think you and I both enjoy a ton. We were actually talking about how we might have to rein ourselves in for talking about it so much. But we are talking about video games today, sir.
Yes.
I'm excited. I don't know if we have any gamers out there. Hopefully we do. If so, in the comments below, let us know what your favorite game is, because we would be happy to know what you guys are out there playing right now. So, if you're ready, sir, I think we should go ahead and
let's get this thing going.
Get it rolling.
Yeah.
So, first thing that I wanted to ask, first question.
Yes.
What particularly drew you to gaming? Like, what got you started into gaming?
Honestly, when I was younger, my parents were huge gamers.
Really?
Yeah. Both my mom and my dad, they grew up playing arcade games. And so they would spend a lot of their time in their youth in various arcades. And so I kind of was led by example, you might say.
Yeah.
So that my dad and my mom were both very thrilled to have like the latest console whenever it came out, and so it started with Ataris and ColecoVisions, and soon it went to Nintendos and Super Nintendos, and yeah, that's kind of what it was.
That is probably super foreign to a few of our viewers.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, Ataris.
Some of those. Yeah. What's an Atari?
Yeah, Atari and ColecoVisions. It was basically blips and bloops on a screen, and you did very minimal controls, very minimal graphics, and
nothing like what we have today.
No, nothing.
Nothing at all like what we have today.
Like,
were you a Pong
8-bit
person?
I played a little bit of Pong. I played some like Pitfall Harry was one of my favorites when I was younger.
Ooh.
And it was just a little guy swinging on vines, jumping on alligator heads. Is literally all it was.
It's a Tarzan ripoff. No.
Yeah. Indiana Jones, I think, was the inspiration.
Was Indiana the inspiration?
Yeah.
Okay, I always got Tarzan vibes. I guess it was the vine swinging.
Yeah, for whatever reason, there's not a lot of vine swinging in Indiana
a lot of
Jones.
vine swinging in Indiana Jones. That's the
But,
real
yeah.
travesty. But no, that's cool, man. I can't say that I had like parents into gaming, but we definitely had like PlayStation 1. My brother had a PS2 and like Xbox 360, and my cousins had like the GameCube and all that stuff. Frogger. You remember Frogger?
Frogger is a great Atari edition as well, all but the Nintendo. I think they made some later on versions.
I was about to
as well.
say, my introduction to Frogger was the PlayStation 1. I will never forget the little like CD case that it came in, and you would put it in, man, and I would just spend hours just playing Frogger.
Trying to get across that road.
Man. I didn't know Frogger was a metaphor for life.
It truly is, yeah.
It truly is. Crash Bandicoot was the other game. The first one, again, the little CD disc case. If you guys have never seen a PlayStation 1 game, look it up. It's really trippy.
Yeah.
But no, man, that was fun too. The little Bandicoot would be spinning and break the boxes, and they even did like a remastered one. I went and bought that just for nostalgia.
Yeah.
Just for nostalgia purposes purely.
Would you think that was your favorite game growing up, was Crash Bandicoot?
I would have to say it was. Like, between Crash Bandicoot, yeah, that was like my favorite. I never played the second one until I became an adult. I played the first one when I was a kid, and my cousins had the third one for PlayStation. And so those were the two that really were just like...
Yeah.
Treasure Planet.
Okay.
The movie game was another game that I
Really?
played a lot. It was fantastic.
Can't say that I've had the pleasure of playing
Really?
that one. No.
Oh, man, it was so fun. If you got Disney, remaster it if you could. But no, man, that was a dope game. I love that one, too.
Yeah.
It was...
The Disney games that I loved playing when I was younger were like the Aladdin for like Genesis or Lion King
The
for
Lion
Genesis.
King? Oh, man.
Both of those were fantastic. Today's standards, it's still a very tough game. Both of them are.
I hate it.
All this is platforming. You basically just jump and run to the next little part of the level, and somehow that is some of the most difficult things you can possibly do.
Take me back to days I don't want to talk about. We're just rage quitting. So spinning off from that, I know you asked me what my favorite game was. What would you say is your favorite?
I mean, I have so many. But honestly, co
could you give us a top five? Maybe
top
like a
five? Yeah, I could do a top five. I would say StarCraft is in there.
That's a good one.
Whenever we got our first like home PC, that was one of the first games that we had like on a disc that I installed, and I just loved like there's so many different scenarios that you could do, so many custom games, and I just kind of like it was one of the first times I played. I had like a real-time strategy game, and so that blew my mind. Super Mario World for Super Nintendo. That was one of the ones that I had growing up, and I would just play it like non-stop. And it's one of the few games that I've gotten like completely done
Would you
and
call
finished.
it the SNES?
It was the SNES. I would call it the SNES sometimes.
That was for a special viewer that we have out there, the SNES.
For PlayStation, Metal Gear Solid.
Ooh, those are
Metal Gear Solid.
Metal Gear.
It blew me away that it was like playing a movie, and that was the first game that I can really think of that really hit that note. And
movie vibe.
Yeah, movie vibe. Like there was twists and turns all throughout the whole game, and just sneaking around in a cardboard box was one of the most fun things I've ever done in a video game.
You never thought it would be more interesting to sneak around in a cardboard box.
Yeah, it's so great.
A video game.
Tekken. My brother and I played so much Tekken growing up. And so, like, still to this day, that's I think our favorite fighting game that we ever played.
Okay, so you were more Team Tekken than Team Street Fighter.
I was more Team Tekken than
because
Team
there's
Street
always
Fighter.
there's a divide. I realized that at a con recently. There's more people that lean towards Street Fighter, and then there's other people that lean more towards Tekken.
Street Fighter is so fast. There's certain I can't keep up with the people who are actually good at Street Fighter, and so my skill level for fighting games has to be brought to. Same thing with Super Smash Brothers. Super Smash Brothers is so fast to me, and I can't wrap my head around it.
Really?
No, I really can't.
I love Smash Bros.
Yeah, everyone does, and I just can't. I can't do it. I've tried to do it, but no.
Have you played it on? So you haven't played it on Switch, like the new one? Or
No,
anything?
I haven't. I had the one for Wii really broke my heart, and the people who were really good at it tried to be Pikachu, and I couldn't Pikachu it up. So
You couldn't do Pikachu justice.
No.
It's okay, man.
So, and leading into that, I would say Pokemon Blue is one of my favorite games of all time too.
Pokemon. Ooh.
A lot of times we only had like one TV in our house, and that had all the games hooked up to it. So if my brother was playing a game by himself, a lot of times the only thing I could do was play on my Game Boy. And so I would play my Game Boy when my brother was playing like whatever console at the time.
I remember my Game Boy when I got it, man. I think one of the first games I got for my game, it was the Game Boy Advance SP. I'll never forget. First game I got for it was Batman Begins.
Oh yeah,
Batman Begins, that one, and then
those Batman games are underrated.
those Batman games are very underrated. Yeah. And then I think I also got one of the Spider-Man games for Game Boy, I believe, too.
Okay.
And that was just great. And then I had a friend of mine who had Tarzan from his older Game Boy that would work on the SP. So I spent many hours playing as Tarzan on my Game Boy SP, and that just I'm also having childhood nostalgia right now, so you're gonna have to forgive me through this episode. Gaming is my thing, always has been, always will.
And I think that's something that's really great about video games is it really does like much like a movie or anything. It transports you back whenever you play an older game. You do have a sense of nostalgia, and I think we're seeing that come full circle nowadays with a lot of the games that are getting remastered or remade or re-released or whatever. And just bring up those feelings again.
It is, man. And I also like, too, that video games aren't just like a child's medium. Like, people look at it, it's like, oh, video games are for kids. No.
Yeah,
there are a lot of games that are not suitable for children at all. So you have all your audiences covered. You have your children's games, you have your, like, teens, early adults, and then you got your mature ones that are for those, like, that really just need something to fill
dive into
that rated R
the world of
vibe.
Souls or Elden Ring or whatever.
Yeah, give them that vibe that they're looking for. So that's one thing that I love about is adaptability in video games over the years. So we've talked about different consoles, and you even threw PC out there. What is your favorite way to play? Are you more of a console person or are you more PC?
Growing up, I was definitely more console. I think, looking back on it, I think the PlayStation is the greatest console that's been released. I know that's controversial. A lot of people will say like Nintendo or Super Nintendo, but I think PlayStation, I think it really like leapt everything forward a few years very quickly. So I would say when I was younger, PlayStation, but nowadays I lean more towards PC gaming. It's once I got a gaming computer, it's a lot easier to just add on parts to it rather than just buying a brand new console every few years. And so yeah, with a lot of times like Steam is the best way that I get games through PC.
And those Steam sales, man.
You can't beat them. Sometimes you can pick up games for free.
Oh yeah,
things. The Humble Bundle. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Oh yes, the Humble Bundle.
Yeah,
my buddy of mine was telling me about that. He's like, "We got to get on that." I was like, "Sure, buddy. I'm all about that life."
So that's what I do the majority of my gaming on nowadays is my PC. But I do have a Switch. That's my current console that I have, and that I got that mostly for my daughter, and my daughter and I play a lot of video games together. So
keeping that generational thing going. I love
gotta keep it going.
Gotta keep it going, man. I definitely vibe with you on the PC thing. And the funny thing is, I was not a PC person. It took a lot of convincing from my little brother to get me to actually start a PC game. Because my thing was
it's a lot to get into it.
It is. I was like, I gotta build the thing, and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm gonna put the wrong part in the wrong place. And then COVID hit. And like him and some of our other buddies were all playing these PC games. He's like, Nick, you gotta get in on it, I'm like, fine. So finally, I think it was like tax time around when COVID and all that was hitting. I just saved all my money and I bought all these parts and I sent it to a friend of mine to get okayed. And thanks to the grace of YouTube and a good buddy of ours, I got that thing up and running, and I do not regret it one single solitary bit. It is fantastic.
I think once you have all the pieces, it's the best bang for your buck.
It really is, honestly. And the thing is like we were talking about those Steam sales, I think I dropped a little over $50 the first time I opened Steam.
Yeah, it's very easy to do.
Because the first time I did it, it was like, I want to say it was like in the fall time.
Yep.
And so they started having like their fall sale, and then Christmas time rolled around and they had the Christmas sale, and then they had a lunar sale, and like between all of those, I dropped over a good $50 just in games alone.
Yeah, my Steam library is immense.
It's immense. Right?
Sometimes I buy games I don't even like play them. I'm like, I'm just gonna need that later on down the road.
Are you at the point now where you can like categorize them? Because I have mine categorized.
Oh
now,
yeah,
and it's
My backlog for games that I want to play is just ever growing, and at this point I don't know if I'm ever going to catch back up.
Dude, my wish list right now, I still get emails and Steam's like, this game on your wish list just got on sale. I'm like, I'm a poor man this month. I can't buy it.
There's no way I can do it.
I can't do it, man. I can't. But no, it's great. But like you said, PlayStation is like, that's the game of my heart right there. Because again, I remember having that first PlayStation and my brother having his PS2, and gosh, all the games you would play on PS2.
Yeah, there really is nothing. I don't know. Playing on a TV with some of your friends right next to you, there's nothing that beats that.
Nothing that beats that at all. And even like what was it, Midnight Club and like Need for Speed.
Oh yeah, those good racing
playing
games.
Those with like my cousins or like my brother. Oh, that was great. Later on, Xbox came around because for one of his graduation gifts, somebody got him an Xbox 360, and so then Madden started rolling around, and he beat me a lot in Madden. A lot of rage quitting on that. But no, PlayStation though holds a special little. Well, not even to this day, I have a PS5 now, so it kind of just sticks with me, and I'm hoping that as time progresses, I don't know, I'll pass it on to nieces and nephews or whatever the case is, like you said, to keep that little ball rolling there.
Gaming is not going to go anywhere.
It's not going anywhere, man. Like, honestly, because you just look at all these like gaming conventions and the mass amount of people that come out for these things. It is wild.
Yeah, and like competitive gaming is becoming a thing.
Esports, yeah, man. Esports is becoming a big thing. Like I was talking to one of our coworkers, Jay, downstairs, and we were just talking about how in some countries esports is just lucrative, just great money in esports.
It's airing on television like ESPN and such. You can watch whole matches of StarCraft, like StarCraft 2 in Korea is a huge thing.
So to all you parents out there that are getting on your kids about they spend too much time on that game, they could make you money one day.
Potential future
there. You could see them on ESPN still. We're looking out for you kids, but we're just putting that out there for you guys. So we've talked about a mass amount of games. We've talked about different years, different consoles, way we like to game. What is your favorite genre when it comes to the games that you play? What's a genre that you particularly look for?
I really like RPGs. I like diving into a story. I think, like I talked about earlier, Metal Gear Solid was like some of my earlier influences on that. Final Fantasy, all of those games that I can see like a beginning and end to, is what I used to really enjoy, like the progress of like the main character and everything like that. But nowadays, my time for gaming is limited. I don't get a huge chunk of it anymore. So I really enjoy like roguelikes and roguelites. If you guys aren't familiar with what that is, it's basically you have a character and you go in for like 15 to 30 minutes and you build up your character and then you inevitably die is what usually happens. Probably well before that 15, 30 minute mark.
Yep.
But as you progress, you kind of unlock or build your character a little bit stronger. So each time you play, your character is stronger and better, and you make it just a little bit further until you ultimately like reach the goal. And so within my available time to play, I think that's a perfect example of a game that I can get knock in, knock out real quick.
I get that.
Hades. I don't know if you guys played Hades, but it's one of the best games I've ever played.
Really?
Yeah. And that is a perfect example of a roguelike game.
I'll definitely have to look into that, and you guys look into that too. I definitely would have to say for myself, I like you said, I like a game with some story.
Yeah.
Like, get me hooked into playing your game, and I'm in. Like, right now, I'm going back through, I do it like once a month or a couple months. I go back through the Uncharted series again.
Yeah.
Just because those Uncharted games are just chef's kiss. The first one, I will admit, it's a bit slow, but then 2, 3, 4 is just we're on the train tracks now, and I love it so much because they take you to different places, and then the graphics accompanied with that, so they make these places just like stand out and just makes you feel like you're right there. I love it. I love every second of it. Another good story-driven game that I like is Detroit Becoming Human.
Okay.
Which actually we have available here at the McCracken County Public Library. You should come down and give it a look. We have it for PlayStation 4. That is a game where you have choices.
Yeah.
You play as, I think it's like 2 or 3 different characters, and you make choices for them.
Okay.
And each choice will affect that character. So once you make a choice, you can't go back on it.
Yeah, okay.
Like, you have to play the game.
That's awesome.
The direction that you're going. And the amount of emotional turmoil that game put me through was just, I can't, oof.
Yeah, making those hard choices, whether it be in life or a video game.
Or a video game, it will get you, man. And I was like, it's just a game. It's not going to hit me. Nah, man.
But there's been multiple times where I've played games like that, and I've completely just started a new game.
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't like that choice. I've made a horrible decision. What can I do to take it all back?
I want to take it back. I want to start over.
Yeah.
No, after I played that game, I had a couple of days where I just had to, like, really just think about my life, think about where I was going as a human, because I was like, wow, am I a monster?
Yeah.
But no, those are definitely the games that hook me, hook, line, and sinker. So what are you currently playing? Do you have any games that you're currently playing?
Currently playing, I'm getting really back into cozy gaming. My daughter, she's a huge fan of like Animal Crossing and games where you can just like farm and live your daily life, and there's really no stress to it at all, which is a great thing to have in a video game sometimes, because sometimes they can really stress you out.
I mean, maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little, yeah.
Not that much.
And so like just sitting back and relaxing and just so cozy games, Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley, which we have here at the library as well, upstairs in the youth department. It's really great. I mean, just going through and you basically build a farm and go fishing and you try to turn it around. It's delightful. It's adorable. But yeah, doing games like that, cozy, there's no high risk to it at all. So that between that and like roguelikes, that's what I'm doing.
Oh man, I'm trying to get into Sea of Thieves again. Like I played that heavy
Okay.
over quarantine with a
Yeah.
bunch of buddies, but now I got some friends that have come around and they're starting to kind of get that ball rolling again.
I see that pop up every now and again as
Dude,
recommended
it's
for me. So.
really good game. You
Yeah.
literally just get a bunch of your friends together. You guys can get a ship and you're a crew. You can go steal treasure. You can go complete these different tasks and build up your status. And it's just you go against other players.
Yeah.
And that got interesting. We had one crew that there was a 12-year-old, and he told us he was 12 because he made it a point to mention that we were getting beat by a 12-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
Was not a fan.
They
of
like
that.
to point out that
Yeah,
fact
they
real
like
quick.
to point out that fact super fast, and I'm like, get out of here, kid! I pay rent. Go watch your Teletubbies.
I mean,
on
honestly,
TV.
nowadays when that 12-year-old beats me, I'm like, that's fair. Yeah. I'm old and my reflexes are not what they used to be. So yeah, you win this one.
I'm not gonna lie, my pride kicked in. I was like, I'm getting beat by a child. Come on, man.
I'm like, good job.
Good
Way to
on you,
take over
child.
the next generation.
I'm truly passed on the torch. But no, I'm trying to get back into that. Like I said, I'm getting into the Nathan Drake thing.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Guardians of the Galaxy. Marvel's
Okay.
Guardians of the Galaxy is a very, very good game, which we also have here at the McCracken County Public Library here on the youth services floor. And that's a very, very good game. I'm a huge Marvel comic book.
Yeah.
If you couldn't tell by the Batman episode, I'm a huge comic book fan. So to have that game is really just like, it's real nice. I like it a lot.
A roguelike that I've been playing a lot lately is Vampire Survivors. Is what it is. Spooky season, so it like matches up really well. It's very retro Nintendo graphics. You play like a character, and it has now spawned a new genre of type of game. They call it horde gaming, where it's just a lot of creatures come at you all at once, and you just have to survive as long as possible while killing all these monsters. It's available on Steam, on PC. I think it's getting some better recognition out there, so it's probably going to come to consoles pretty soon. But it's really cheap as well. It's the guy he wanted to make a game for everybody, and
Nice.
It's really nice. You just level your character up, and you usually get killed within the first like 10 minutes or so. So it's really great.
Well, that's funny because like another thing about gaming is there's always these like genres and like subgenres that stuff I've never heard of before that I'm like that's a thing. It's kind of like anime with me. Like anime has got like a slice of life and it's superpowers and I'm like, man, there's so many different like little
auto battlers are a big thing right now too.
Yeah, like,
where you really don't do anything. You make decisions and your character does them for you. So those are becoming a hugely popular trend as far as gaming. Yeah,
it's your intro to coding. But yeah, it's crazy how games it's not one central thing. It's like a whole litany and a whole group of different things that funnel into one bigger thing. And I like that about games. I like that a lot.
variety is the spice of life.
I was about to say, variety is indeed the spice of life. So, we've gone through all this. I've had people that have actually asked me, they want to start gaming, whether it be their brother, sister, partner, parent, whoever, games, and they're like, that looks cool, I want to do it. How do I start? And I go dead in the brain because I don't know how to respond to that question. So what advice would you give to somebody who wants to start getting into gaming?
I would say if you want to start getting into gaming and you want to do some latest and greatest games, I would say pick up a Switch Lite. It is a cheap handheld console. You can take it anywhere. And you can play anything on the Nintendo catalog, and they have a lot of other games that are cross-platform nowadays, and they also have a huge collection of indie games that you can download and put on the Switch Lite. It's a relatively cheap console as well, so you don't really have to spend a whole bunch getting invested into it, but that's what I would say nowadays is probably your best option. And if you like retro gaming, if you're trying to get something for your kid that you want to had nostalgia for that growing up, just hit up yard sales. People will get rid of old consoles nowadays pretty cheap. And that's what I would say is like start hitting up yard sales and see if you can find like a Super Nintendo or Nintendo and a collection of games that way. But I would say the best way is to do a Switch Lite for current gaming.
That's actually a really good suggestion. Another thing too, find something that you like. Like we said, video games have different genres and then subgenres and things that we may not be thinking of right now. So do some research. Look and find a game that you would be into. Or for the people that that do game, ask them what they're into. Ask them for suggestions.
Yeah, you can find me upstairs and ask me anything. I would love to talk to you about video games.
Same. I was about to say, you can find Mr. Shaun on the second floor. Myself, I'm on the first. And if you guys have any questions about gaming and how to start, just come find us. We would be happy to. As you can see, we have no problem talking about all things video games with anybody, including you guys out there, our patrons. So yeah, you got any things you've been thinking about?
Do you have a favorite video game character at all?
Do I have a favorite video game character? Yes, I do. Mr. Nathan Drake is my favorite. He is the lead man. Yep, going back to the Uncharted, he is the lead guy. And I actually got to meet Nolan North.
Really?
The dude
That's
that
awesome.
I went up to a Comic-Con with my little brother and some friends of ours, and the hotel we were staying at, the con guests were staying there too. So it was funny because I got to meet Nolan North, and I got to meet Billy West. Oh. The dude that did Ren and Stimpy. Futurama. Yeah, I got to meet both of them, and it was the greatest thing in the world. And then he did a Q&A afterwards, and we got to ask him some questions. But yeah, Nathan Drake is always, dude, best day hands down of my life. Best day and he was so chill. Like we didn't, we just walked up to him and was like, hey, we didn't want to disturb you guys. We just wanted to say you guys are a huge part of our childhood. And he's like, I'm sorry. He's like, I'm so sorry that I was a part of your childhood. And Billy's like, hold up, let me look at you guys. Well, you seem put together, so I guess we didn't do half bad. And he was like, it was great. We loved it. We were just fanboying out in the car. But no, he's just a cool dude. And Nathan Drake, to me, he's an underestimated guy. He's an underdog. People look at him and don't think he's the brightest tool where you keep the crayons. But he's a very smart individual. He's a very smart guy. He's a loving guy. He can be a bit of a jerk, but he's a lovable jerk. So,
perfect.
All aspects that I acquire is to be the lovable underdog. So, yeah, I'm a sucker for an underdog. So,
love it.
Man. Yeah, and then like I said, getting to meet the voice actor for him was just like that little cherry on top for me. It was great. Loved it. How about you? You got a favorite?
Going back to what we talked about earlier, Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid.
Metal Gear Solid.
To me, he was so cool the first time I get introduced.
He still is cool.
And and knowing that he was based off Kurt Russell, Kurt Russell was one of my favorite actors, still is one of my favorite actors growing up. Love everything that he's in, and just knowing that character was inspired by him.
Can you imagine if we ever got a movie with Metal Gear Solid?
They're making one. They're currently making a Metal Gear Solid movie.
That's nice.
And Oscar Isaac is supposed to play Solid Snake, so I'm very excited for that.
Give me Kurt Russell. I want old man Kurt Russell.
Maybe old man Kurt Russell could play old man Snake or the old boss or
That's
whatever.
That's all I want. I just want Kurt Russell as that would be just great casting.
Yeah, if he can come in as Boss Snake, Kurt Russell, that'd be great.
Kurt, if you're watching, just come on, man.
You totally are. I know you are.
You know you can do it.
Speaking of video game movie adaptations, do you have any? What's your thoughts about those? Do you have any that's really met your expectations?
I can't really say I have, man. I will say, and I'm not being biased. This is 100% true.
Uncharted.
The Uncharted. Don't call me out. The Uncharted movie. I have critiques of how it could have been better, but for what it was okay. And even Nolan talked about it because, of course, he's like, I'm waiting for you guys to ask me. I know what you're going to ask me. And somebody finally broke the ice and asked him, and he was like, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. It was good for this day and age. He was in the sense of, I'm glad they didn't do a shot by shot of what we'd already did. The way that they took it, it was more younger Nate.
Yeah.
And he's like, I liked that a lot, because we did what we did at our time of us doing it. And now to get a whole new crop of fans in, they did it with Tom Holland. And he's like, whether Tom was the best cast or not, Tom Holland moves movies.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he gets movies made.
He does.
Mark Wahlberg, same thing. He may not have been your ideal cast, but Mark Wahlberg gets movies made.
He gets people in the seats.
He gets people in seats. And he's like, so as long as people are in seats to go see this movie,
Yeah.
and we're getting the game recognition out there,
Yeah. Yeah, you get people like in there, the more chances we're going to have other video game movies being made. So, yeah.
But yeah, there's that one. Tomb Raider has always been a hit or miss one for me.
Yeah, I think they're fine. I think they get the spirit of the game.
Yeah, the Angelina Jolie ones, you can definitely tell were early 2000s.
Yes.
Has early 2000s written all over.
Yeah, and for somebody who grew up during that time, as they were coming out, I thought they were great. But at that point, I wasn't really listening what critics were saying, and they don't have the best opinion about that movie. Or Resident Evil movies are the same way, where
they are the same way.
They're pretty critically panned, but as a kid, I really enjoyed them. I think that's video game movies. Pretty much, they're not the best, but they do hold like some kind of like fun aspect to them.
It's an adventure.
And I like cheesy movies, so yeah.
So what did you think of? Because they did a Tomb Raider back in 2018, 2019. Did you get a chance to see that?
I didn't get a chance to see it, but I heard it was not bad.
It wasn't bad, actually. Now it definitely does that thing of you forget about the Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not a terrible person. It's just those movies are so cheesy.
They're so cheesy.
They're so cheesy. But that movie has its level of cheese too.
Do you think there's one that's like the best? Did you say Uncharted is the best video
one
game?
That's the best
movie adaptation?
That's a tough one. I'd have to say it because even the Assassin's Creed movie.
It was horrible.
It was it had Michael Fassbender. I love Michael. Him and X-Men and all that. He was great. But then
the list of terrible
Assassin's
ones
Creed is just
highly outweighs the list of ones that are good.
1,000%. Do you have one that you think is
Honestly, I think the best ones nowadays are the Sonic the Hedgehog movies.
Factual.
Sonic I think
is
those
the best.
are you can tell the people who made those really enjoy that game and want to try to make it the best as humanly possible.
Uncharted, I love you, but no, Sonic takes
Sonic the Hedgehog 2, I think, is fantastic, which we have here at the library.
Which we have at the library, so come check us out. But yeah, man, those, I'm really glad, first and foremost, they didn't go with Ugly Sonic.
Oh, yeah.
Put that out there.
Yeah.
I was one of those fans that was like, you gotta be kidding me. We have the technology and you're not using it. What are you doing? What are you doing with your time? What are your hopes for the Mario movie? They're dropping a trailer this week.
This week, yeah. I wish it the best. I'm a big fan of Illumination, who is doing the animation for it. So everything that they've made has been at least fun and watchable. The Despicable Me movies were good. Secret Life of Pets, all those are great. So hopefully, I have high hopes for it to be good. I just know you're going to have people on both sides of the fence. Hopefully, I can kind of not be biased one way. And
I just hope they don't make Chris Pratt do a Italian accent. That's all I ask.
It can go terribly very quickly, I think.
It can dip very fast.
Yes.
Just don't do that and you'll be fine.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and like I said, these are all that we've talked about today. You could find a lot of them here at the library. In fact, we brought a few little props. So we got Detroit Become Human, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. If you haven't played that, very good game. Horizon Zero Dawn is another favorite game of mine.
Great game.
Great story, great game. And then, of course, as we mentioned, I'm a comic book guy. So we have Spider-Man for PlayStation 4. We also have the sequel, Spider-Man Miles Morales. So if you have a chance, come through and check these bad boys out. And even Shaun.
Oh yeah, I had Stardew Valley, which I said earlier. I love this cozy style game. Star Wars Battlefront 2, classic. We have older style games too. We just don't have the newer ones. We have these older games. So if there's a favorite game that you like, that we don't have, let me know, and I will see if I can get it ordered for you guys.
So you're telling me we have PlayStation 2 games?
PlayStation 2, PlayStation games.
What?
Yeah, not even the 2, the PlayStation
Not even the 2
game.
PlayStation.
Terraria, this is a great Minecraft style game. Allows you to build, allows you to craft, fight monsters, all that kind of good stuff. Shadow of the Colossus is one of my favorite games as well. I didn't talk about it much because I'm really a nerd for this game, and I could talk about it for hours.
We could be here for a long time. If
It's beautiful. It's cinematic. It's gorgeous. Big fan of Star Wars, as you can tell. Lego Star Wars. This one just came out. Skywalker Saga has all the episodes in it. It's great.
Lego games in general are fantastic.
So great. Lego games are accessible by everybody. If you want to like start easing younglings into video games, I would do Lego games for sure. And then like I talked about earlier, Aladdin, and Lion King. It's great. Classic games.
As a fan of The Lion King, I highly vouch for that game.
It's so good.
It's going to stress you out. I'm going to put that out there right now. You're going to play it. If you think it's just going to be an easy run through, you're wrong. It's going to stress you out. Especially, but it's so fun.
Especially I just can't wait to be king level.
I hate that level with a passion, dude. That's the level that I would just like rage quit because I checked it out for the 4 and I was like, I can't. And,
swinging on giraffe heads and everything. It's so hard.
And if you don't time it right, you're gonna fail. And then you got that little screen.
Platforming. So hard.
I don't like it. But no, you can find all those here at the McCracken County Public Library. And if you want to see if we have them available before you come down, you already know you can check out all things library at www.mclib.net. Again, that's www.mclib.net. And I might have put a few extra W's in there, but you get the point. But no, we want to thank Shaun for joining us today. And we're really glad that you guys could take the time out of your day to come join us too. So until next time, we will see you when we see you.
See you at the library.